Amelia. I'd like to take a moment and take you back to August 15th, 2019, here in Portsmouth, Virginia, here at the lovely location Atlantis Games and Comics. Now that's in the real world. In the fantasy world, it was also August 15th, but we were in the dungeon of the Mad Mage. And it was a hard time. It was a great time. We had a lot of fun. But there's one character I'd like to talk to you guys about. His life was shortened due to unfair circumstances by his party. His name was BoneSmasher. BoneSmasher, by the way, a little backstory on BoneSmasher, guys, is a Kenku fighter. So he's this little cool miniature of a fighting bird. Now, Kenkus in D&D have no language. They used to, but they were cursed and unable to speak. Now they only mimic. And with that, they only mimic what they hear, and they mimic exactly what they hear. So tone, for pitch, everything, all the way down to your accents. They're a really fun and unique race to play. And I got to play this BoneSmasher, and he was a lot of fun. So for me, things I needed were like this: a journal to keep all his sayings, and a whiteboard, because when he couldn't speak, he drew. He's very good at it too. He's a very good drawer. So, let me take you to his time. The party started out like any other. Everybody got along. Everybody figured out that this Kenku could not speak on his own. So when he started, he only had select sayings. You know, we have some greetings. Hello, no, yes, thank you, bye now. He did have that was one of the characters. He would say every so often.
Watch your profanity.
And then he had phrases that he learned. His very first phrase actually was, "Saw you cast healing word. Do you have more?" And over time, he learned more. He learned sounds like goblins chanting, a red dragon roar. That was a pretty fun one. He also learned violin scratching and like mouse laughters. He was really what kept the party happy. He was just go lucky, really fun, young for Kenkus. He was on the young side. And that was all before. That was actually when they were still in Waterdeep. But then we made it to the dungeon, and we started going down different dungeon levels, and each one was unique and hard. And the Kenku had one phrase that he loved to say the most, and that was "fight now." If you asked the Atlantis employees, though, it would definitely be the most said saying was, you stupid, because one of our characters lost to a mind flare and had his intelligence reduced, and he said you stupid to one of our other characters that was making bad choices in Waterdeep, which in Waterdeep, the city, if you do anything against the law, you can actually get consequences. You can be exiled. Kenku actually wrote him down because a lady came to talk to that party member and tell him all the things that would happen to him if he continued. So, you know, he could have had 1 year exile, 100 floggings. He must formally, publicly apologize. He would have 15 days in prison without food and water. And that was just a few things. That was just a few of the, things that he, could have had. So you stupid was used a lot because the party kept making terrible choices and decisions, including the Kenku. The Kenku also had his own problems of, saying fight now anytime he met somebody. So every time we opened a door in a dungeon, or in the dungeon levels, and we saw something, we were just like, fight now. And they would be really upset with me because I would constantly fight things. There was even one time we had a whole race. We had to put everything in a cart. All the party members actually put stuff in a cart. Even one party member proceeded to put his clothing and everything into the cart. The cart went away. The Kenku was like my fist and my weapons, kind of made this gesture and didn't put anything in the cart. We're gonna go run and do this race to be as quick as through that we can. And I left the whole party. As a Kenku, I moved very quickly. So I kept leaving people, and when they found me, I kept running. We joked that my Kenku wasn't smart because of how young he was. He definitely acted like a child. And then we got to a level in the dungeon, and this is where the story is going to get really sad. So I'm really sorry. Grab your box of tissues. I had a hard time with this when this all happened. It was a hard night for me. I even went home and cried about my character. But one night we were playing, and we got to a section in the dungeon where we met a lady. She offered an opportunity that one of our party members felt they could take. felt it was a good opportunity, so they willingly offered themselves to her. Unfortunately, they were not completely listening to her, and she was pretty much speaking as if she was a vampire. Blood-sucking vampire down to the bone. And of course, BoneSmasher couldn't say a thing, being who he was, and saying fight now anytime he interacted with anybody in the dungeon that wasn't his party. Proceeded to get into a one-on-one fight with her, to the point where not even the friends would help, or could help. They were not allowed to interfere, while the one friend that willingly gave himself was digging his own grave. And eventually I couldn't do anything. As my Kenku, we could not fight. We tried, we did what we could. Honestly, it was a losing battle. By the end of it, even though one of our players literally ran out of the room and was like, okay, I just leave completely, eventually she found us all. She killed us all. This vampire lady killed us, and we became undead. And in AL, when you become undead, you become not playable. So that night, August 15th, 2019, BoneSmasher had to be retired. So I kept this book with all his sayings. I mean, there's some really good ones in here, by the way. Literally, Southern, you don't have lips, but it is written in SpongeBob formatting. When he's being all sassy, like, there was like a whole joke in here, like, do you whistle? And I did have to write, like, if it was a Southern accent, I wrote Southern accent, even maybe who it was by. I even got like one from like a couple from NPCs. We even had a day where the Kenku had to learn appropriate things to say, because the Kenku kept getting in trouble and causing trouble. So like, because I said fight now, that would get me in trouble. So our one friend was like, I don't want to fight. So I had to say that in Southern anytime I said that. And then she also gave me, let's talk this out with one of them, and points to friends. I have to like point to people. And then she also gave me the polite yes sir. It was a lot of fun. Like this whole campaign I really, really enjoyed. I don't think I ever had a bad time with it. It was just sad how it ended. So one thing I did with this board, I actually wrote the date when it happened. I wrote this the day of. I wrote his name off to the side here, and I even wrote what he was killed by. I loved this character. He was so much fun. Everybody interacted with him when we were in the store. I mean, I would have people literally like be joking and stuff like that, or they'd be looking over at our table when he spoke, because he was loud. He was obnoxious. He was fun to play. Like, he was one of the first characters I played that I really got into role playing completely with it. I wanted to keep playing this character. The Atlantis employees definitely didn't appreciate him from time to time because of that. But I think deep down they really did love him and BoneSmasher and his whole of what he was. I think the worst part of this whole thing is that I actually had gave him a birthday and had him have like August 15th be his birthday. That day before we started the campaign, I was like, hey, my Kenku's a year older too, guys. He's super smart now, and he was a little bit more serious going into the evening. It was definitely a lot of fun. He's one of my favorite characters that I've had, and I just wanted to share that with you guys. So